Shalom, sisters. This is Sister Yushraya. Today, I just wanted to cover a quick topic from the book, The Willie Lynch Letter, Making of a Slave. You don't have this book. It's a very easy and short read, so I suggest purchasing it if you want to just read it in full. So what I'm doing from this is a perspective for our sisters. And this one is called a series of tests, a series of tests. So first I want to turn to page 6 in this book as my starting point. And I want to read, I have a foolproof method for controlling your Black slaves for at least 300 years. That's what this book is about. So let's go ahead and flip over to page 17 in this book. And I just want to read something. It says, take a female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. Page 17. So I'll just stop there. And I want to say, let's imagine what those tests look like in this world today. Okay. So those tests can look like free housing, free food, free money, free fake fame, free fake love. And it works, right? And a female, us sisters, will submit to it all. We will submit to it all. So I want to go to a scripture in Matthew 16 and 26. So Matthew 16 and 26. All right, and it reads, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? So what can you profit if you gain all of that stuff of the world, but you lose your soul, right? Nothing, right? So those series of tests that I mentioned that the world gives you, those things keep you in bondage. And we were meant to be free, to live free, right? But those type of things keep us in bondage, right? You start to move away from realizing your own self-worth, and the world begins to take advantage of it, right? You don't know what you're capable of accomplishing, what you're capable of doing, what you're capable of having when those tests or those things of the world are given to you, right? You lose your self-worth and the world begins to take advantage of it. Okay, like the book, like this book said, right? That let's run these tests on these women and see if she will submit willingly, right? And let's test her in every single way because she is most important. So they even recognize how important we are, sisters, right? For good economics. And they will test us. This world will test us. So again, Matthew 16 and 26 said, what does a man profit if he gains this whole world but loses his own soul? Or what shall a man gain in exchange for his soul, right? What should a man gain in exchange for his soul? So that's a big question to think about. So like I was saying, the series of tests that the world gives you, they keep you in bondage. They keep you in bondage. You start to move away from realizing your own self-worth, and the world starts taking advantage of you. They take advantage of that. It cannot be denied, right, that you are the most important factor for good economics, especially when you walk in righteousness. So let's get that in scripture. And I'm going to read a few scriptures here. Because it can't be denied, right? A righteous woman is worth more than rubies, right? So let's go ahead and bring out Proverbs 31 and 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies, right? Also, I'm sure they recognize it, but you should recognize it, right? You are good economics because of your ability to be a helpmeet. So let's bring that out in two scriptures. Genesis 2:18. Again, we're talking about good economics and the test, right, that the world wants to put on us. But again, when we walk in righteousness, we have to realize we're good economics as righteous women, right? As righteous women. So Genesis 2:18. And the Lord God said, it is not good that a man shall be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. Okay. And then let's read 1 Peter 3:1. So it says, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may, without the word, be won by the conversation of the wives, right? And I'll just go ahead and read 2 while I'm at it. While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. Okay, I just want to throw that in there since we are chaste conversations. But while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. So again, we're talking about good economics, right? Walking in righteousness, being a virtuous woman, and being good economics, because we have the ability to be helpmeets, right? That's what we're chosen to do, and bring forth children. So I want to bring scriptures out about that. But again, to bring a helpmate, right? So that's good economics for us righteous women. Also, we are good economics because of our ability to bring forth children. And I'll say to care for children or mother children. Okay. So let's go to 1 Timothy 5:14. I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully, right? So there it's just telling us women should marry and bear children. Those are good economics for a righteous woman. I also want to bring out Psalms 113:9. He maketh the barren woman to keep house and to be a joyful mother of children. Praise ye the Lord. So I just want to share that too, because like I said, to bring forth children, to raise children, to be a mother to children in any capacity makes us righteous women, right? Good economics. That's truly good economics, right? And that's just to name a couple of reasons. So I want to talk more about righteous tests, right? So what does a righteous test look like? So I'll bring some scriptures out from Job and some scriptures out from Ruth, because Job, righteous tests can look like Job, right? Because Job had it all. Job was tested. Job stayed away from sin. And in the end, Job was blessed even more. So let's just bring out scriptures to kind of follow that righteous test, right? That true test that Job went through. So let's go to the book of Job 1:2-3. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 500 yoke of oxen and 500 she donkeys and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all men of the East, right? So like I said, Job had it all. So now let's see Job's test, right? So let's just go down to Job 1:8. And it says, and the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and eschewed evil. About this test, right? So let's just drop down. We'll just read all the way to 12. We'll just read the 12. So 9. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? Has not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side. Thou hast blessed the works of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse thee to thy face. Right. So Satan is tempting the Lord thy God, and who cannot be tempted. But this is what he's telling him. You do it. You God, you test Job. And the Lord's 12, and the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in your power, Satan. Only himself put not forth thy hand. So don't touch my servant Job, but everything that he has, right? Again, we talked about tests, right? The free food, the free money, the free housing, things like that. This is the stuff that Satan's going to touch, right? Only upon himself put not forth thy hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So this is where Job's test starts, right? Don't do any harm to Job, but everything that he has, all those things that he glories in, well, not glory, he was humble, he was very humble, but all those things that he was blessed with, touch those things, right? So let's just go back to the beginning of what I said. The test today of this world, right? The free housing, free food, free money, free fake fame, free fake love, and all that stuff works, right? And we as females, unfortunately, we submit to those things. But of course, those things can be taken from us at any time, right? At any time. But those are the tests that we cling to, but those are not, when we go through our tests, we should know how to handle those tests as righteous women, right? And those free items we have to know are just loopholes to pull us in to succumbing to the things of the world, right? Doing what the world requires of us to have those free things, but God can bless us. He can bless us way more in abundance than what the world can offer us. So let me just keep going. So in this test, Job stayed away from sin, right? So let's go to Job 1:22. And it reads, in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Okay, and so just to go back up, remember, Satan is touching everything that Job has that God blessed him with. And just go to 20, it says, then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down and worshiped. So he was grieving after his first loss, right? But in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. And so I just want to end that with how Job was blessed even more after he went through these righteous tests, right? So let's go to Job 42:12. So the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than his beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camel and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she donkeys. We'll keep reading. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. So he blessed him the same, but not the same, even greater than he did in the end when he endured this test. But let me ask you, right? Those tests we mentioned, the free food, the free housing, the free fake fame, and free fake love, what do you have to show for that stuff? You don't own those homes. That's not food that you went out, like Proverbs 31 says, and sought diligently with your own mindset of feeding your family the best foods, the best clothing, right? Because that was free. It was given to you. So really, those items, you're under subjection of what type of items and how much you can purchase every month when you're getting these, this free food. But I hope you understand where I'm going with that. So let's talk about the next righteous test. And this is Naomi. So Ruth 1:1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land. And a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. Right? So that's just telling you about Naomi's family, right? Who she had. So Naomi had a family. She had a husband. She had sons, and so let's go over to see now the test that Naomi had to face. It's her losing her family, right? Ruth 1 and 3, and then 1 and 5. So 1 and 3 says, in Elimelech, Naomi's husband died, and then she was left with her 2 sons. And then let's go down to 5. And Mahlon and Chilion died also, both of them. Those are her sons. And the woman was left of her 2 sons and her husband. So she lost her husband, she lost both of her sons, and so it was just her and her 2 daughter-in-laws. So now we, just like Job stayed away from sin, through all of this, although both of them were afflicted and both of them, of course, expressed their afflictions, they kept their faith, right? So Naomi kept her faith and Job did not sin. So let's just read about Naomi and her faith through these tests. So let's go to Ruth 2 and 20. And Naomi said unto her daughter-in-law, blessed be he of the Lord, who hath not left off his kindness to the living and to the dead. And Naomi said unto her, the man is near of kin unto us, one of our next kinsmen. So Naomi, just a little refresher. So, Naomi went back to Bethlehem, and there she, was back amongst her people, we'll say. And she set her daughter-in-law up to work in the fields of her next kinsman, hoping that he would recognize her, right, and restore their family. And so here she's just saying, once that has happened, and she found in Ruth, her daughter-in-law, found favor in Boaz's eyes, was able to glean in his fields, she's thanking God, right? So she still had faith that her situation would turn around regardless of what she went through. And so finally, we'll wrap up this test of Naomi, with Ruth 4 and 16, where we see that Naomi regained her family again, right? Just like Job, he was blessed in the latter end and had children again. Naomi was able to regain her family again after this test, she kept her faith through it all. So Ruth 4 and 16. So Ruth 4 and 16 reads, and Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. So if we go and read up, you'll see where Ruth did marry Boaz. So 4 and 13 says, so Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife, and he went in unto her, and the Lord gave her conception, and she bare a son. Okay, and then in 7, and just like we read in 16, and Naomi took the child and laid it in her bosom and became nurse unto it. All right. So the series of tests that you must pass and what you must submit to are those of the word of this word, and not of the world. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so I just want to end with 2 scriptures and just a quick summary, right? So again, this is a perspective for our sisters about a series of tests, because in the Willie Lynch letter, it says, run the series of tests on her and see if she'll submit willingly, right? And to test her in every way, because a woman is good economics. But again, they're talking about the making of a slave, right? And so in today's world, what does that look like to us, right? It looks like free housing, free food, just all the things that they will test and give us for free, that we succumb to their will. But it's not of the world that we should be dwelling in and wanting to follow. It should be of this word, right? And so what we read, of the world is that you're still going to go through tests, but these are what you would consider righteous tests, right? Because again, God will not afflict you. These are things that Satan will be allowed to put through, not causing you necessarily harm, just like we saw in Job, right? But these, the world will test you even when you're righteous, right? And so through those tests, what you want to do is remain from sin and remain faithful so that your latter end will be blessed, okay? And it's so important. I know they talked about good economics. What true good economics is for the righteous woman is those things that we are supposed to do, right? Be a helpmeet, bring forth and raise children, right? And those are just a couple of things. Those are the good economics that we as righteous women produce and provide. All right, so I just want to end with a couple of scriptures. The first one will come out of James 1 and 3. So knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience, right? The trying of your faith worketh patience. So just know, sisters, that you are the most important factor, right? You are. So let's read Proverbs 31 and 28 to affirm that, and then we will end. And it reads, her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her. Good economics, right? A helpmeet, raising your children properly. Those are good economics, righteous economics, right? And the series of tests as you walk in your righteousness, just know that keeping your faith and keeping from sin in the latter end, you're going to get a greater reward. And that's what's important. So you don't mind the things of the world, because then you're succumbing to what the world is trying to loop you into. Just know that everything that you need, the Lord will provide for you, just like he provided for Job and he provided for Naomi. So with that, I'll go ahead and end this chaser and say shalom.